Why is it so that every element in nature is at peace and harmony with one another? Why there is so much chaos among human beings? In this video, a discussion with a spiritual aspirant, Anthony Nayagan, answers these questions and delves into 1. Why do humans experience chaos while nature is harmonious? 2. How can spirituality bring about harmony? 3. How can society change for more harmony? Watch the video in full. Your subscription to this channel helps building this mission.
It really is emotive sparks that they get and they give, and that's how they are doing it. And that communication is purely based off an emotive spark. It's an emotional message. One is able to give, the other one is able to receive. That's how the whole universe connects, except human beings. Human beings, we use our intellect to connect. We use our knowledge to connect. The natural elements in the universe, there is no intellect at play here. Only the emotive messages given and taken and reacted to.
So we go back to energy and vibrations.
As it comes down to it, see, this is the reason why Jesus says to enter into the kingdom, what's the commandment? Love. Love yourself, love your neighbor, love God. So what he is saying is, bind yourself not with intellect, but with love, but with emotions. Be like what is out there in the nature. Then you are in the kingdom of heaven. With our intellect, what we do is we isolate ourselves from nature, and then we kind of live in our own narrow circles of perceptions. That is really what we are doing. All the chaos in the universe is because of that knowledge, because of how we communicate with our knowledge. It's how we handle affairs with our knowledge. But you see, the universe is existing without any intellect. And that's in peace. That's in harmony. So if we were to learn anything from universal consciousness, what would that be?
The love.
To exchange emotive feelings with the whole universe and even with one another. Go beyond intellectual interactions. That's the simplest message Jesus left us with.
Sounds simple enough. Yes. we can do
Simplest
that.
message. Just emotions. When we only use emotions as a medium of communication, everything will fall in place. That's the message of Jesus. That's the mystery of Jesus. Honest, emotive exchange.
Honest. That's the key word, I think.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I mean, love.
people would love to manipulate that
Well,
kind of control too.
But when you love, you don't. When you love, invariably you are honest. So that's what Jesus says, love. There is profound meaning to his commandment. You see?
Yeah. He's repeated that many times throughout the book.
Yeah. The intellect came into play after the fall of Adam and Eve. And Jesus came with the message of love. And we are still going back to the intellect. See, Jesus came. He did not form a religion. He preached love. Buddha came. He did not preach a religion, but gave the message of love. Muhammad came. He also gave the message of love. He did not create Islam. See, all of us, we have created institutions, and we are, instead of telling our followers, telling our subscribers, to love each other madly, we are telling them to fear God. Fear your life after death. But the fundamental issue is this: you cannot fear and love at the same time. It's a philosophical contradiction. The contradiction is so huge, it actually boils down to this: fear dispels love, love dispels fear. Sure, we need disciplines, we need orders, we need structures, we need an administrative model. If we are running an institution, we need policies, we need orders, we need all of that. But look at the nature. They also have an order, they also have a structure, they also have their freedom, but do they strictly abide by that? No, they interact with emotive feelings and they act in freedom. Nonetheless, the order is there. And the order is not governed by fear. Order is governed by freedom.
It's going to take a long time for the world to change our whole concept in that direction, where we're going to start loving those that we either fear or dislike or want to control, to give all that up and just love them so that the world can be a better place.
Yeah.
How do you suggest we start doing that?
Well, we do that one at a time. Starting with one at a time. There are major movements in the world. They started with one at a time.
Well, we already have enough religions out there, and it's not helping. And if we have more people doing this, we just have more of them pop up. These little cults and everything else.
Sure, but why do you think cults form? Out of fear. The fundamental drive to form a cult is fear. If I make you afraid, then I can make you listen to me. What is going on in politics around the world? Even in democracies, where freedom is the fundamental principle of a democracy, people are made to fear so that they can abide by the politicians' ideas. It happens all over the world. Even cults, even religions, even major institutions, all of these are formed not out of a strength, but a weakness in the system, and a weakness that needs to be feared. So you make people fear the weakness so that you can listen to the solution that I'm offering you and believe in it, trust in it, follow me. That's really how all of these things are happening. Even when you are coming up with a business idea, okay, what do the people want? What is the weakness in the system? What is the weakness that I'm offsetting? Where is the opportunity? Is the opportunity coming out of a strength or a weakness?
Weakness, definitely.
A lot of the times it is the weakness. So when the weakness is clearly communicated and established, people buy your product. When intellect works, this is how it works. It works in a very logical order based on a very polarized theory of opposites. The opposite sides of the argument. You analyze the opposite sides of the argument and you build your theory based on the same polarized order. That is how human intelligence works.
We have to put our intellect aside and find a way to love each other naturally.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the answer. That is the answer. It is not out of a weakness, but it is out of her strength. See, loving somebody, loving something, it's not a weakness. It is an enormous strength, very powerful strength. It can bridge gaps, it can do all sorts of miracles. It can heal people. It can relieve them of their stresses and anxieties and all of that. It can make each other strong. It can make the beloved much more stronger. That's the power of love. It's not a weakness. So instead of exploring weakness so that we can exploit each other, compete with each other, overwhelm each other, profit from each other, let go of all of these. Just love. Jesus wants you to love. That is the answer. That is the answer of Jesus. That is the answer of Buddha. That is the answer of Krishna. That is the answer of Muhammad. All of them had the right idea. And they knew how the nature works. And they knew how the humans work. And if you want peace and harmony, do what the nature does. Let go of your intellect. Embrace the power of love.
The longer we're institutionalized, the harder that is to do.
Well, it is, because look, it's a culture that has been inculcated, that have been hammered into us for generations, thousands of years. Sure enough, all of these prophets, Jesus, they came to deliver us from this. But you know what? We are going back to the same old. I mean, look at all of these religions, all these institutional religions. Do you seriously think that they evolved out of love for humanity or out of intellect?
Definitely intellect.
Definitely intellect. That is the reason why people are leaving the institutional religions now. It's not just in the church. People are leaving, even among Muslims, even among Hindus, even among Buddhists, people are leaving. And because they are becoming more and more fearless, more and more thoughtful nowadays. So the more they become thoughtful, the more they become free. The more they become free, the more they are going to see how all of these institutions have been letting them down for the last thousands of years. So they are leaving. So the answer is in helping them to love, helping them to obey the commandment of Jesus and be madly in love. Not with ourselves and our beloved, but our neighbors. Our neighbors include the universe and the universal consciousness. By way of all of these, love God, because He is the one who is the universal consciousness. The more you identify yourself with the universal consciousness, of course you are going to elevate yourself to the supreme consciousness, which is God.
That was the number one commandment He gave us over and over.
Yeah.
To love Him first.
But it comes in a sort of a reverse order though, because He says, love God with all your might. Okay? Then He says, then love your neighbor as you love yourself. So actually the love your neighbor as you love yourself begins with loving yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you cannot love your neighbor. You see? So loving yourself first, then loving the neighbor. Then when you are loving the neighbor, then you get into the expansiveness of the universal consciousness and loving the universe itself. And when you are in love with the universal consciousness, elevating yourself to the supreme consciousness of God is natural. It's given. That's how it works.
I'm still working on the loving myself thing, but I think I can get there. Then I feel positive about that.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, we really should not get caught up in the past and in the future. See, we need to remain in the present moment. And when we are in the present moment, believe in the present moment and be involved emotionally in the present moment. But what we do is we are so emotionally involved in the past and we are so afraid of our future. So we are dealing with regret and fear. And that is not helping our present moment. And that is not helping us loving ourselves. See, regrets and fear are not going to help you. The inner freedom does. The inner freedom comes about when you really begin to be in the present moment and emotionally involved in the present moment. Not intellectually involved, emotionally involved in the present moment. What helps? It helps to remain in the joy of gratefulness. So that emotional involvement in the present moment involves the joy of gratefulness to God. How He is blessing this present moment for you. When you are so engrossed in that emotional gratefulness in the present moment, everything is going to unfold. Loving yourself, loving your neighbor, loving the universe, loving God and everything, it all works that way also. Because believe me, it also begins with gratefulness to God. And it goes back to the gratefulness to God. See, that's how the cycle works. See, now, the commandment of Jesus, now it is working the other way around. Don't you think?
You make it sound easy.
It is easy. It is easy. Look, what did Jesus say? It is not things that are meant for intellectuals and the greatest minds to understand. These are things for the children to understand.
We should be like the children.
We should be like the children.
And all the apostles were fishermen. They weren't very knowledgeable.
Exactly. Exactly. You reveal these things to the minds of children, and you're hiding these things from the intellects. It's a phrase in the Bible, in the Gospels.
Well, I'm going to quit reading all these self-help books.
Just go out there. Try it for about a little bit of time a day. Just spend about 5 minutes loving yourself, feeling grateful about the blessings of God in the present moment. Be in the joy of that gratefulness. Just 5 minutes. And go out there and look at the universe, look at your neighbor, look at everything around, and watch and observe how God is blessing them, how God is loving them, how God is providing for them. Now, feel the joy of gratefulness within you. Again, you are glorifying God. See, and you are loving what you are observing. Just do that for another 5 minutes. Then come back and be with God for another 5 minutes. Is that hard to do?
Shouldn't be. No. Should be quite easy.
That's it. Just 15 minutes. And you don't even have to do it all the time. Just 5 minutes during the day. Okay, do it the first one for about, say, 10 seconds. I mean, why do you feel so grateful now? Why do you feel so grateful?
I've been given good health.
Okay.
I'm living in a sunny part of the world.
All right. Say thank you,
There's
God.
a lot of things I should be happy about.
Yeah.
But intellectually, I'm upset that I didn't acquire what I thought I should.
Forget that. Forget that. It's not even necessary. The reason why is when you pass this world, when your material body perishes, every material things you acquired, including your knowledge, is going to perish. What comes with you is the joy. It's the joy of being with God. It's the joy of being in the present moment with God. That is going to come along with you even into eternity. And that has nothing to do with your material acquisitions, your loved ones, with anything that you acquired in this world as a human being. Nothing to do with it. It is how you feel the joy of gratefulness in the present moment. And in that present moment, for the blessings you have, the blessings everything else have, the blessing the other people have, the blessing that the whole world has. And just imagine, you can just go on and on and on. And praise God, glorify God, and be joyous in it. And there you are. This is the foundation of love. The joy of gratefulness. Even when you are loving the other person, it doesn't start with, oh, how sexy that person is, or how generous that person is, how wonderful that person is. No, it starts with feeling the joy of gratefulness for that person within you. See, when you feel the joy of gratefulness for the other person within you, then love begins to bloom.